When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
All right, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and I'm excited today because it's the new year. Obviously, we just ran right into 2023. Everyone's excited for 2023 because it's going to be some new magical year, different than 2022. Like everyone thought 2022 was going to be a magical year, unlike 2021. I'm just here to say this. It will be a magical year if you create it to be a magical year. So it all is going to lie on you. And that's why today we're going to be talking all about how busy professionals like you, like me, like everyone else that listens to this podcast, how they delegate and why they delegate. It's all part of the process of scaling, of growing, of making more money, of having, time with your family. That's why you got into being an entrepreneur, so you can have time with your family. So on today's episode number 69, we're going to be meeting with Pam Weiser. I love it because she's Be the Wiser, right? Pam Weiser is who we're going to meet with. She's going to tell us all about why, after 20, 30 years of her being in this industry, why delegating is so important. But before we do, I would like to thank our sponsor of today's show, BizBolster Web Solutions. Imagine if you increase the visits to your website to have a consistent flow of new business. BizBolster Web Solutions designs websites and sets up tools that not only attract new prospects, but also starts building the know, like, and trust factor for those prospects when they land on your website. Through exceptional websites and targeted SEO, our clients are not only found online, but are also able to convey their expertise as well as the what's in it for me to their prospects. Imagine if it was easy for you to increase sales for your business by driving more traffic to your website. Well, it is. Be sure to visit BizBolster Web Solutions at bizbolster.com to download your free SEO guide and schedule your discovery session today. All right, Pam, let me go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about my guest that I have here. And if you want to see our faces, all you have to do is go over to Facebook at Colleen Biggs. I'm in the blue shirt. Just become my friend or follow me, and then you can see all of the videos that we do on the podcast. So Pam partners with overworked and overwhelmed busy professionals who think they need to do it all themselves, but realize that they can't. She helps them scale their businesses, manage projects, and delegate tasks so they can create time in their schedules, save money, lower their stress, increase their efficiency, and get back to focusing on what's most important: building their business. She's been an executive assistant and business operations manager for over 20 years. She works with solopreneurs all the way up to companies with thousands of employees today. Pam, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Colleen.
It's very exciting to have you here. And talk to me about how you really realized over all these years of working with these busy professionals, how crucial it was. Just take like maybe your last job in corporate America. When did you realize like how crucial it was without you there to do all of the things you needed to do, how the company would just fall apart most likely?
I mean, that's really what happens. But I came back from vacation and people said, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't find anything. Things fell apart. You weren't here. And so that's exactly what happened. I come in, I basically manage these executives or manage these entrepreneurs so that they can get on with focusing on the bigger tasks instead of the administrative and operational things that I focus on.
Yeah. Back in 2019, I actually hired my first assistant to help me in the business that I launched in 2018. And the reason why I did that was because I had gotten to a point where I was just too busy. And I was like, how can I ever add another program? Because I'm struggling already with what I'm doing. How am I going to do any more without adding more time? So I call it like buying time. So if you could explain to us a little bit about what is buying time to you, Pam?
It is getting rid of the overwhelm. It's getting rid of the burnout, because most entrepreneurs think that they can do everything themselves, and they realize that they can't do it as well as they're just getting by with the things that they're doing. And so this gives them back. When I step in and help, it gives them back their time to focus on things like strategies, planning, meeting with customers and clients, and all the things that they can't do when they're stuck doing things that they don't like to do or only do, in a mediocre way.
You know that list. So typically, what does that list look like? Because I could label it right now very easily.
Oh boy. I mean, it's things like, invoicing or recruiting or social media or standard operating procedures or, organizing their systems, putting their files into drives and naming them so they can actually find them, doing presentations, all the things that they need to do and to be in front of customers and clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we look at a company structure, and you walk into a company, generally if you walk into a corporation that has like 25 employees or 10 employees, whatever, there's an admin sitting at the front desk, right? And so that admin does some things for maybe some people in the office. They answer the phones, they direct people on where they need to go. That is not what we're talking about at the level of what Pam does and what busy executives like myself and many others need. We need the executive assistant level. This is the level, when we're talking executive, we're talking the CEO's right hand. Right? This is the CFO's right hand. This is the person that pretty much runs their entire schedule, sets up all their meetings and is making sure that they have plane tickets that they need when they're flying somewhere, or that that everything is running well. And the reason why these executives hire someone to be a business operations manager to do these things, or to be that executive person, that right-hand person, is because they can do what they need to do. And then this executive person does the rest, if that makes sense to everybody. And that's why I keep bringing that up, because most people think, oh, well, I don't need just an admin, or what is an admin going to do for me if they're just going to do like a little bit of my work? We need to be talking about the bigger piece system that Pam and her crew do for companies, and why it's so important to delegate. We wear all the hats when we start, but if you want to scale your business and you want to make more money and you want to have more time, then you have to have someone doing what you do, taking that off your plate and doing it at the same hours that you're doing something else. So if you're working 10 hours on sales in a week, you need someone working on 10 hours of the other things you were doing that week so that you double your time. So now you're getting 20 hours out of that. That's like the best way I can explain it. Pam, do you have another, piece of working with clients and how, maybe even they've shared with you, wow, I can't believe since Pam's been here, what we've been able to accomplish or how we've been able to grow?
I actually hear that all the time. Some entrepreneurs don't realize that they need the help until they actually get it. And so when I step in and I can take things off of their plate, it's like a sigh of relief. And they don't know what they would have done without me. So, there's a lot of ownership. A lot of these executives and entrepreneurs have a lot of ownership, and they don't want to relinquish the control. And that's half the battle when you want to hire somebody who's going to come in and delegate.
So in other words, you've created a job for yourself. Is that right?
I have.
Yeah. So what happens is if you are an executive and you created a business because you left corporate America or whatever, and then you're running everything, you've pretty much just created a job with about 10 to 50 tasks that you're responsible for doing. How you create a business from that is by scaling and delegating. So for instance, I have someone who handles my social media, my creative images. They create my creative images. I have a marketing company that handles doing things like writing content for me, creating the sales pages. Then I have someone else that creates the sales pages for me, right? So when we start talking about people on your team, someone asked me one day, how do you run all of this, Colleen? Do you have a big team? Well, they're not necessarily my employees working in my business on my team, but they're part of my greater team, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I could do every day, which is interview podcasts like this, right? Grow our podcast, which is have interviews for our members, run member events, coach all my clients. I would never be able to do more of that if I was doing now what 4 other people on my team are doing. If I took all those hours back, I would have to stop what I was doing. And what I'm doing produces all the income. And so I just want everyone to really let that, set in for them. So what do you have to say about that, Pam?
I agree. I think that there's a couple of things when it comes to delegating. I mean, if you have to ask yourself, is this moving my business forward? If it's not moving your business forward and you're stuck doing these menial tasks, you have to hand it off. Okay. Are you good at doing them? If the answer is no, it's probably time to delegate. If it takes you forever to do things or you're burned out and, yes, then it's time to delegate. And if you have a team, if you have other people who can step in, it hones their skills as well. So, do you have a team? Can they improve their skills? It raises their morale if you can pass off things and they learn a new skill. So they're becoming more professional in their career as well.
Yeah, I like that. As the owner and as the person that is the executive, the reason why you have business operations managers is because they handle some of the operations pieces that you don't need to worry yourself with handling, right? And because you've been a business operations manager and you do a lot of project managing for companies today, it's so amazing to me how many entrepreneurs I talk to. And when I ask them if they have someone helping them, they say no. And I'm like, well, right there, I already know what the problem is of why you haven't been able to grow your business. So maybe we should talk about this real quick, Pam. Someone out there is thinking, okay, well, I can't afford to hire someone, because that's the number one thing that I would hear. Because I actually felt that way when I first started. And I said, I've got to get up to a certain amount of revenue before I hire someone. That's actually not true about affording, because the minute you bring on someone, you're able to do so much more that you always pay for them. I don't know how to explain it, but I've never really had to pay for my project managers or marketing or assistants, because they've really only always paid for themselves because of the hours that I've had free to focus on that. So do you want to kind of share a little bit of those conversations you've had with people?
Yeah, actually, you are one of the people that I've had this conversation with. And it makes a lot of sense. You get twice as much work done for, really what is half the cost. And so in looking at that for my business as well, it makes sense for me to hire a team to expand my business. So it makes complete sense.
Yeah. Time is always going to be finite if it's based on your 24 hours a day and how many hours you can put into that. So if you want to grow and you need, like a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, I need 2 salespeople, or I need 2 of me to run this business. That's what you hire another person for. That's what the Pam's for, right? That's what Pam Weiser is for and her company that she runs, because that's what they do, but at a whole different level. So we're not talking at just the basic bottom level. We're talking at creating systems and processes for you in your business that you might have created your business without them because you had no idea what an SOP was. I say SOPs and people are like, huh? Standard operating procedures how do you keep hiring more people and duplicating this and growing this faster and faster and faster if you don't have operations in place, right? Or if you lose that person, you need to hire another person. So Pam, why don't you tell the audience how they can reach you, where they can find you, the best way for them to actually connect with you? Because someone out there right now is thinking to themselves, I do need someone, but I don't want to just hire someone from overseas that might not talk good English. This is what happens in my industry and circle. I hear it all the time. And there's a barrier of English and, a breakdown of the language. And I just need someone that's really gonna, do what I do and help me so that I can do more of what I need to do.
Yeah. So I always say you get what you pay for. So you could go out to the Philippines or somewhere and hire somebody for $4 an hour. But and they also there are language barriers and there are also time zone differences. And so I have a lot more experience. I also don't need to be handheld. With my 20 years of experience, you can basically give me the end goal. I have a lot of resources. I can get you there. I'm on LinkedIn. And I believe my website will be posted. Feel free to reach out. I can put my email into the chat as well.
Yeah. So bethewiser.net is where you're going to find Pam. You can also find her on LinkedIn under Pam Weiser. That's Weiser for Pam Weiser. And then she has an assessment that she has out there. So this is a good way for you to take this assessment and survey to say, like, how do I know if I really need somebody right now? So if you go to her website, bethewiser.net/time management assessment, so you can click on it right there on her homepage. You can also email her and connect with her that way. But, focusing on what's most important to you, building your business, driving revenue. It might be expanding your influence. It might be building relationships. It might be nurturing relationships, but yet you don't really know how to nurture those relationships the best with people that you run into. That's what you need someone like Pam for, because she does that so well. But, I meet too many professionals that don't delegate. And then their biggest complaint is that they can't grow their business. And I just stare at them like, you don't see what's missing. And they don't. They really don't. And so this conversation is so crucial today, Pam, because without individuals like you out there serving this industry the way that you do, businesses wouldn't be able to grow to where they grow to.
That's right.
Yeah. So Pam, I just want to say thank you for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Thank you for sharing how important it is for people to realize. And let me ask you this one last question. What's the number one thing that someone should do today to figure out, besides take your assessment, what's the number one thing they should do today to really look at where they are in their businesses? And then if they've decided, you know what, I do need to delegate, and I've known this for a long time, and hearing this podcast today is just affirmation that I need to delegate. What would you recommend that they start kind of listing the things they should delegate? Should they list things they don't like to do? What is the first steps for them to take for that?
It's probably prioritizing what's most important versus what's most urgent, making a list, deciding what tasks need to be delegated, just as you just said. Not worrying so much about the money, because the business will continue to grow. You will have more time to get in front of your clients and customers. I will take all those things that you hate doing off of your plate and get you back to doing what you love.
I love that. It sounds so juicy and wonderful. And so all of you that thought your wishes could not come true, they actually can. And so I love that Pam says, be the wiser and do what you need to do for your business. And it is being wise. It's about being a true professional and knowing when you need assistance in your business. And by the way, you can't keep duplicating yourself. And it's a bad thing to do that anyway, because I'm just going to say that you don't want a bunch of yous running around, because you're going to have a lot of the opportunities and the same strengths. You need to combine those with other people that have strengths in the areas you have opportunities, by the way, so we can match those up. So Pam, thank you so much for being on our show today. You were fantabulous. And if you'll just share again your website for everyone, I would love for them to know where they can connect with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's bethewiser.net. That's BETHEWISER.net. My last name is actually spelled WEISER. It's a little play on my last name. And I'm also on LinkedIn as Pam Weiser, WEISER.
I love that. Thank you so much. Well, ladies, I'm going to just tell you right now, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. So here's what we have today. The conundrum, the dilemma. What do I do? Do I wait until I've driven myself into craziness because I'm working 60, 80 hours a week? I never see my family, but I became an entrepreneur so I could have the freedom to be with my family. But yet I created a job worse than my job before, and now I'm stuck in it. Well, here is your gift of how you can get out of it. Contact Pam, find out the best next steps of hiring her as a business manager in your business so that you can get back to doing the things you loved and why you decided to start this business. You can get back to having that time with your family and that time for you and that time to take care of your health. Because I'll tell you right now, 2023 is going to suck if your health is bad. So you got to take care of yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. And as always, until next time, be you and be strong. Until then, bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery, where you learned the tools to create a life by design. Remember, you are the only you there is, and you are the only you that will ever be. Be you and be strong, because you are brilliant, and the world needs you at your best. We cannot wait for you to join us again next time.